What is up, everybody? We are on episode 15. Episode 15. The Spunk Busters is still a thing. But, okay, how we start off, we got the intros. Everybody introduces themselves as per normal. Carlos does a recap. The team leaves the building that they're in with the resistance. Katie uses a word a lot, and my word of the day calendar is not the greatest. So we're gonna Google this word right now, and I'm gonna learn. And this word is bevels. She uses bevels a lot to describe how Adalia casts magic. Her skin bevels from, blah, blah, blah. But a bevel is a slope from the horizontal or vertical in carpentry, in stonework. Oh, because she's a crystal born. A sloping surface or edge. A very small 40-degree bevel is ground on the top surface. Let me, you guys can't see it, but let me get an image of what a bevel is. Skin bevels. That's not what I had pictured in my head. If Google what a bevel is and look at that. But anyway, I had to look that up because she always uses it and I can't imagine it, or what I imagined wasn't what I just Googled. So maybe I spelled it wrong. Anyway, they stealth through the streets. Pass without trace is OP for stealth missions. Always take pass without a trace. Never leave home without it. Carlos is really good at describing things. He gets clear and cut to the point. One reason I can't get into Critical Role is because Matt Mercer is just like a Stephen King book on audio. So many details and so many things I don't need to know. But Carlos gets to the point with a lot of information, but not overwhelming amount of information. So I really like that when they were like getting through the streets. The things that he decides to bring out and let pop at you really stick and are really good. Carlos gives Katie a choice. They're kind of going through. They get to the sewers at this point, and they it's like you basically have to go left or you can go right. And Katie counters. She hits that man with a counter hook so bad that she's just like, Katie wouldn't know, but Adalia would. And Carlos is like, yeah, you're right. So they go through the sewers. This is where we find out Spunk really will eat anything. There's some moss on his head, and he just, yep, it was delicious. Everyone checks on Christopher as they proceed through this. They start to hear something coming towards them, and as it approaches closer, they notice that it is the croc that they've been hearing down, the crocodile. They roll initiative. Everybody rolls their initiative. Ferric is up first. He immediately casts Animal Friendship. The crocodile loses the save. Ferric, the croc tamer, tells Spunk to heal the croc. First off, they notice like this claws was messed up or something, so Spunk heals it. Today, we learned what the crocodile sounds like. Carlos did a really good job of making crocodile noises. But we learned that they don't moan and groan. They kind of hiss and make noises similar to that. Ferric tells the crocodile to leave, and the combat is over. They get out of the sewer without a hitch after that. Now, as a DM who has planned many of encounters and many of late night sessions for my players to, I bet that crocodile was a legendary crocodile because there is one legendary low level crocodile that that is in the handbook. I think it's called like Sawtooth or something. I bet that's what that crocodile was, and it was supposed to be like a really hard encounter. And Carlos would probably try to kill them again, but I would be upset. And I would try not to like have it show, but you know, you can't punish your players for coming up with creative ways to proceed. But like, I just know how it feels to be like, yes, this encounter is so good. And then they're just like, we're going to go around. But Carlos, nothing can phase that man. He's always happy. He's always sunny. And he's always, I don't know if he lives in Philadelphia. Anyway, they head to where they left the horses. Hopefully Strudel didn't eat any of them. Strudel is gone. Immediately, Strudel is gone. But the horses are still there. They kind of search around for Strudel and they find human footprints. Everybody's like, oh, that's suspicious. That's strange. Anyway, Ferret goes after Strudel and everybody follows except Pickles and Spunk. They kind of hang back. Adalia has never been outside of Northwatch that we find. They get to this kind of like watery beachfront or something like that. Ferret jumps in the water because he sees something, and Adalia dives in right behind him to find out like what it was. As they're kind of racing the water, as this Adalia Ferret race, they see Strudel or see a man on the beachfront. They go up to it, they call out to Strudel, they find out it's Strudel, basically. He does this like bit that he's a newborn kid or whatever, and he's just like, I don't know English. Like, what is what? And then he laughs it off. He's like, nah, my name's Xander. Nice to meet you guys, blah, blah, blah. He really wanted to meet Evangeline because she was like so nice to him, but then he finds out that she's dead. Strudel kind of wonders what will happen now. Like, am I still gonna be working for you guys? Are you know, like, what's going on with that? By then, everybody else catches up that came along and they meet Strudel. We go back to Pickles and Spunk. They're building a fort out of everybody's tent and everything else. And they're making up new names for the horses because Evangeline isn't here and they think their names are stupid. I love these little funny bits where like characters go off, you know, with somebody else. Like it's usually Ferret and Spunk, but Miraz and Pickle, and now Spunk and Pickles. And I love these little funny bits that they just get together and they just do funny things. That's always a good thing. They're looking for bananas to eat. They find an old banana in a bag of potatoes, you know, just whatever. Spunk eats it, of course. Ferret calls and he says, did you eat my banana? Ferret asks Strudel, like, no, Strudel asks Ferret his name, and then Ferret is like all kinds of mixed up. Strudel asks Spunk his name, and Spunk wouldn't give him. Then they get into this whole bit about names. Then you find out that Ferret is, of course, we know he's a Fae, but he finds out Ferret stole this man's name named Fetus, and he gave the name away. But he now owns that man's name, whatever that means. There's an ad in the middle of the episode. Don't know what that. I mean, like, it's for something. I mean, but you know, you fast forward a little bit on that. But there is an ad. I think it was one in the last episode too. Pickles and Spunk meet Strudel. They continue to talk to him. Blah blah blah. Strudel doesn't know why this happened, like why he turns into a horse, but he was not always a horse. He was summoned by Zanzibar, and ever since then, he's been, you know, Strudel. They head to a town. Miraz asks Ambrose about the prince on the ride to town. He's just kind of like, wondering if Prince has enough power to bring Evangeline back, because Miraz is helplessly in love. We get a little bit of Ambrose lore. Miraz can't do magic. We find out that Ambrose can't do magic, and if you ever listen to his description, he's always doing like gadgets and stuff. Real artificer vibes coming from him. I mean, he is an artificer now, but he finds different ways to do magic. I think he's a little bit of an outcast from his family. He says his brothers and sisters are like top-notch clerics and paladins, and they can do magic. Then you got Ambrose. He is the knight. He is vengeance. He is Ambrose. Miraz and Ambrose seem to be really good friends. They're hitting it off, and they seem to be on really good terms. Pickles and Ferrix has a nice little chat. More people should listen to Ferric. He always has good ideas. Pickles tells that Miraz falls in love with everyone that he meets. She has had to bail him out a few times, and it's just something that he does. Spunk and Adalia talk. Adalia's just trying to get to know everybody in the group. They make camp for the night. Ferric and Pickles sleep in a tree, and he ends up cuddling her. Pickles was my favorite, and I don't approve of a lot of people touching her, but I would ship Ferric and Pickles any day of the week. Anyway, Strudel says his goodbyes before he transforms back into a horse, and he would not be able to talk anymore. Pickles and Ferric, I already said they cuddled up in the tree. Yeah, one day I will make it through an episode without yawning, but it is pretty late. Ferric tries to talk to Zorla, his god, the god of death or something. He wants to talk to Evangeline and learn. He ends up sleeping, and he ends up talking to Zorla in his dreams, and then he learns that Evangeline's soul is fragmented, and it is actually claimed by someone else. Ferric demands that he knows that name. Ferric learns that the prince has her name, the prince has her soul, and the prince's name is Halazar. But he's not supposed to say it for some reason. It might be like a summoning thing. Spunk has a dream meeting with someone, something, some entity. And they want him to give up, kind of rest, pass on that hero's light. Just let it go. Spunk thinks on it, but he doesn't consider it for real. But he thinks on it. Miraz has a meeting with the prince in his dream. The prince kind of plays on his heartstrings of Evangeline and not being able to do magic, and he's like playing on his heartstring of wanting to be loved by everyone. I mean, just he fell into that trap real easy. And then the prince, it's like basically like, if you make a deal with me, I'll give you everything you want. So Miraz is like, I'll make that deal as long as I don't have to hurt my friends. And the prince was like, cool. Let's make this deal. They make the deal. Horrible idea coming from Miraz. But what could go wrong? The episode ends there, of course. Good cliffhanger. Lot of stuff happened this episode. Lot of stuff. Group got to talk. We avoided combat, got out the sewer, got out the kingdom. We got some lore from some characters. We met some gods. I don't know if the prince is a god. I think he's like a lesser deity. But we met some gods. We found out some more lore about Spunk. Like, we used to think Spunk was just crazy. The hero's light and all this stuff was just silly talk. But apparently it was not. I wonder what god gave him his powers, what god he was talking to. Because he never said a name and he never acknowledged this person. It seems like he was a little confused by this. We know that Ferric stole a man's name, Fetus. I just like this episode. This episode was really good. It moved in a direction. There was a lot of information, but still like good information that you can hold on to. It wasn't like just useless information. It was feeding the story. So this was a good progressive informational episode. I very much enjoyed this episode. I am going to give this I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I can't do that. I mean, I don't know how I'm struggling here because I'm a DM and I hate that like this episode almost had everything except combat, but they were technically in combat. They just found a way around the combat, which you have to reward your players for. So this was a good episode. So I'm going to give this episode 10 hit dice out of 10. Woo! All right. I mean, it was a good episode for what it was. Not saying it was bad or like, but for what it was and what we got out of this episode, it was a really good episode. So I thoroughly enjoyed re-listening to this. There was not like, oh man. If there was any negative about this episode, it was the ad in the middle, but I mean, everybody got to make their money. So, but yeah, it was real good. That's all I got to say, man. You are loved, you're important, and you matter. You guys have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.